there, and one of these teams actually going to get ahead of both the Chiefs and their opponent this game by taking out this game, and we'll see how it does go. Smurf now looking to ban away the final champion here for Hard Random. The Hecarim going to leave the Rift following Janna and Nunu, and LeBlanc, Kalista, and Gragas are going to be taken away by Beşiktaş here, and Fizz, the first hover. We'll see whether that one comes through for Thaldrin, but of course, Beşiktaş now with a whole lot of options as to that first pick, because there are some strange bans coming through. I mean, Janna, Nunu, I guess fairly understandable, but there's still a lot of strong picks on the board. And
strongest jungle on this patch has apparently been the Gragas, or at least it appears to have been based on his play this tournament. Is banned away. Rek'Sai still available. Already saw an excellent Vexai game come through. And Theocles, I feel like he's strongest on the Rek'Sai because he has really good jungle pathing, much like we saw in the last game from Revolta. So I'd like to see that as a first lock-in, but there's multiple different ways you could approach this draft.
Yeah, and Thresh for Dumbledoge is also an opportunity here. Morgana, though, is going to be the lockaway here for Thaldrin.
Not a bad pick, because remember, Hard Random loved to play that in the top lane. We saw that yesterday, so it probably would have been taken as a flex pick. You feel like these champion balls are pretty open, but Theocles' Rek'Sai, that's something we wanted to see, but with it being available, can't really say anything about Symphony picking it away here.
Yeah, Symphony actually coming off a victory on that champion as well. Damonko, I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up that Lulu potentially or something like that, take it away from the pick options, because with Morgana being available, Beşiktaş can go for some sort of raise the puppy comp here with that Lulu to potentially put into their back pocket. It is going to be the Maokai locked away here for Smurf, though. Did show some decent prowess on that champion previously, and Theocles thinking about Arenga. We'll see whether that one comes through. Of course, early days in this second round for Beşiktaş.
And you have to feel like Theocles, after being dictated to in that match earlier today against Ints, wants to go for a favorable jungle matchup. Not many champions out-duel Rek'Sai early. The Gragas was a big problem, of course. It was Rek'Sai. It was the Gragas versus Lee Sin matchup where Revolta really got on top of him earlier today. He'll want to pick early. I can't see him going towards a Sejuani just to open himself up to the same sort of threat that he saw his first game today.
Now we'll see whether this is going to come through. Of course, would be a strange one, but we've seen stranger on the Rift so far, Papa Smithy, and Energy taking a while to make a decision here. Beşiktaş really making sure that they use the clock well.
And this is Energy's Lulu. We didn't really mention this. It's been permanently banned against him this tournament. He's most known for his wave clear champions, despite the fact that he went off so strong on Ahri yesterday.
Yeah.
16-5 or so on those champions. Had a huge, massive KDA, playing more of a carry-orientated mid laner. We usually associate the likes of Thaldrin on this team as a carry. Nowadays, especially when he picks up the likes of Lucian, can fulfill that role. But it's actually been the carry performances by Energy, which has been the surprising thing about Beşiktaş this tournament.
Yeah, he has certainly looked strong there in the mid lane, even up against really tough opposition coming throughout this International Wildcard Invitational. Kira, though, is going to save that mid lane pickup for last by the looks of things, and Damonko looking to go with the Thresh, and that is largely a pick away from Dumbledoge, I feel, because his Thresh has looked fantastic this tournament.
They go for a very offensive bottom lane. Thresh Graves, it feels like the Illusion is the natural pickup here for Nadius. He really tends towards that champion. Showed
Does
excellent
have the
play
Sivir already, though.
in the Turkish Champions League. Yes, I didn't notice that. So the Sivir will be taken there. Sivir versus Graves, a pretty even laning matchup, although maybe the slight advantage to Sivir because it's quite easy to buckshot the damage coming through from Graves. Last two picks to be considered. It looks like on paper they have a completed bot lane and a mid laner, but obviously so much flexibility with the champions they've locked in that we can't know for sure until all 5 are locked.
Yeah, they could potentially not even have a support locked in yet.
That'd be crazy, but possible. They've already gone for the Sivir, so Raise the Sivir's not really one of those Raise the Puppy comps that we see.
Not
so that would be surprising, but you know, they're thinking about the Master Yi. Don't know about that one, but Thaldrin, he's the shot caller for this team. He's usually looked upon to carry. Maybe go for the Rumble that was used to such great effect to him. Yang's Rumble earlier today was one of the big reasons that Ints were able to dispatch this Beşiktaş.
Well, Rumble is going to be locked away here in favor of Thaldrin. He's going to pick that one up. Theocles on the Udyr as well, and we've seen Udyr's most definitely be successful. Bangkok Titans coming to mind there, and Kira thinking of going back to the Vladimir here for the CIS team. Definitely fitting to come through, and Vladimir in the mid lane.
Vladimir Graves, that's the same duo that did so much work against the Chiefs earlier today.
As well.
It feels like Hard Random definitely getting a very similar identity comp than the one they had earlier. It's going to look like it's going to be Lulu versus Vladimir in the mid lane. Lulu needs to go Morellonomicon to really try and deal with the healing coming through from the Vladimir, because this matchup will eventually scale towards the Vladimir, and it'll be hard for Lulu to enter lane because of all the trade damage and low cooldown harass coming through from the Vlad.
Yeah, it's only a switch up in the support and top lane to come through here from the Hard Random lineup as far as the change from their comp against the Chiefs. So definitely comfort picks coming through here for Hard Random. They know exactly what they want to use, and they know exactly how to win this game now as well.
It's a very different lineup coming through from Beşiktaş. They have very good rotational ability. They've got the Whimsy, they've got the On the Hunt, and obviously Udyr, already a very speedy champion. Teleporting in Rumble, so strong in those early skirmishes. You feel like Beşiktaş's main win condition from what they've picked is those objectives. Get those dragons, start to rotate towards the likes of the outer turrets and barons. You need to stack up the neutrals. You need to play definitely the 2015 style League of Legends and go for those neutrals here if you're Beşiktaş, because the scaling with the likes of Vladimir seems to be in the advantage of Hard Random, although when you talk about the AD carry matchup, definitely early to mid game focus in both these carries.
Yeah, well, it's true. And if you're looking down the Beşiktaş lineup as well, they've got speed ups on 4 out of 5 of their team members as well. Closing the gap, not going to be a difficulty here for our Turkish lineup. We'll see whether the CIS team can really wait until that late game and capitalize on their picks, or whether they're going to be able to get early advantages based on this Rek'Sai jungler.
I mean, you talk about the Beşiktaş lineup. One thing you can say, definitely fights best around an objective. Just because in the open, Udyr just kind of runs at you, has to get into melee range. They don't have a lot of setup CC for the Rumble Equalizer. They kind of need someone to face check the Morgana, or just for the terrain, like a Rumble. Just a choke in the jungle is something that Rumble is going to be looking for. So if they have that objective snowball, if they can get pink wards around an objective, they fight very well. But if they're forced into the open, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, could be a difficulty here. And of course, Hard Random wanting to just make sure that they can stay alive until the later stages of the game. You have to think, although in the sort of super late game, you are going to have Sivir versus Graves. Sivir probably a little bit more useful in that case.
But in the open team fights, that's the issue, is that, okay, the Sivir can launch Beşiktaş into a fight, but if you just kite backwards, if you're just scaling, never comes with a blade.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of healing to come through from this side as we hop onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Beşiktaş taking on Hard Random here. Our CIS team taking on Turkey, the home side on the blue side here this time around, as Tholdren is just going to be trying to burn down the river. It's an interesting choice. We'll see how that one works out.
And Tholdren, he's the big kind of question mark to me. We've seen so much success for Rumble this tournament. We didn't know whether he'd still be a relevant champion on patch 5.7, but definitely making arguments for him despite the fact that it's not been necessarily Rumble-centric comps. We haven't seen a lot of Thresh Rumble. We haven't, I mean, Jarvan's mostly out of the meta, so the infamous Cataclysm into the Equalizer hasn't been a factor. But Tholdren's the shot caller for this team. If you had to choose a star player, despite the fact that we've seen energy really go off this tournament, so you'd be forgiven for considering him as Symphony.
Yeah, Transfusion going to come through from Kira as well, as a decent Glitterlance going to slow down the assault of the Vladimir.
And well, the assault of the level 1 Vladimir is definitely not a notable assault. No Arctic assault, no seismic assault. It's a very small assault.
A miniature assault, maybe like a flick of the shoulder.
Well, every 12 seconds he does maybe 60 damage, so...
Hey, he's got auto attacks, Papa Smithy. I don't know what you're talking about. Vladimir, terrifying champion. Demonko, though, coming through looking for a possible death sentence.
He's
maybe
actually
just
smart.
wandering.
I mean, just following over to Tholdren, he can't back, so he's going to be forced to do this jungle follow with not a lot of experience. The lane swap has come through, and Demonko, he's certainly not happy about it.
Yeah, he's getting burnt down a little bit, but you can see Flamespitter not doing a whole lot of damage early. Danger Zone has been hit by Tholdren, though, looking to try and keep that one up. Hangs out over the edge. He's managing to burn down this Thresh just a little bit, as the Flay is leveled for Demonko. So
he's not needed for the jungle fall in terms of damage, that's for sure. It looks like he wants to enter lane. Already less than half. I actually would have preferred him to start sapping some experience and look for the ganks, but with the lanes being pushed in by the aggressive wave-clearing Thresh Graves duo, I guess he feels more confident entering lane, but the freeze is only going to begin very shortly.
Yeah, it seemed to me like both of these sort of duo lanes were pushing in their waves. You can see already Smurf managing to pick up a few CS. around this one. The back going to come through from Dumbledore. Actually going to be cancelled out there as Symphony almost going to die to the Raptors, but never fear. He is going to survive this time around. Kira taking a bit of damage here from Energy, of course. He is generally just going to be a nuisance in the mid lane.
And Double Doge probably wants level 2 and then go for his infamous roaming Thresh player. Sorry, Demonko, sorry, on the Thresh in this situation.
Oh man,
the
Ignite. Exactly. The Harpoon's going to come through in response there, but going to be very difficult for Thaldrun to re-enter this lane.
I mean, I was mentioning the Thresh, just assuming it was the coming through from Dumbledore. He's played a lot of Thresh this game, but it's actually him on the Morgana, which has seen multiple bans against him. Udyr, though.
Oh, in comes the bear. The Flash immediately walking out there.
Successful gank.
Yep. Oh my goodness, that bear stance is the funniest thing that I have seen. Look at him go. Oh man, that skin's just genius. Symphony is going to get a flash though in the mid lane as Energy going to get out of there, but Theocles coming through the stun up from the bear stance. Turtle to come down just to try and get something going on. Symphony going to flash out of the way, and there are not many flashes left, Papa Smithy.
They're just not respecting the early game damage from a level 4 Lulu. Big trade damage coming through. Now 2 flashes blown. Both of the frontline tanks are now on the back foot, and someone without flash against an Udyr. There's the one situation, yes, he can gap close, and I expect him to get super aggressive this game. He's at least, at minimum, going to monopolize the Rift Scuttlers.
Yeah, he is going to just duck stance that one down.
Duck stance?
Duck stance. Did you see? It looked like a duck, okay?
Okay.
We'll see whether it comes through again, just so we can show you. As Lex is going to continue clearing out these minions. Thaldrun, pretty cheeky there, walking up, managing to last hit a few, as these top laners are fairly even when it comes to this 1v2 situation. Symphony not giving up here in the mid lane, as Kira's actually blown the ghost to try and get something going on. Theocles coming through with a cheeky take of that tunnel, and then just drives on by. Smurf the Christmas tree.
It's a lovely world where Udyr is back in the meta.
It's so fantastic. We've got Christmas trees, ducks. This is a fun game.
It's a festive game.
It most certainly is.
I mean, a lot on the line for the home team, though. I mean, a lot on the line for both these teams, but it wouldn't be a final series without the home team. So Beşiktaş really looking hard. They need to step up after being just dismantled by Ints. You can kind of forgive them for that after how well Ints has played. Subsequent to that game against the Chiefs, the push to kill still coming in aggressively, and they draw out the teleport from Rumble.
Yeah, Thaldrun definitely wanted to come back because, of course, that wave heading towards the turret doesn't want to miss out on any experience. Theocles down here on the bottom side. The flash into the bear stand stun.
Do they have the damage?
He's trying to orb walk, but Nadius, I don't think he's quite got enough. Smurf twisted advances into it. Boomerang going to be dodged out on the return, and he's going to survive, but that was ballsy.
I can only speculate that Smurf thought he had already taken turret aggro and was looking for the kill on a level 3 Udyr, as Kira's fallen very low, and Symphony's just really relieving pressure at this point.
Symphony is... I don't think he knows whether there's any other lanes on the map other than mid. We've seen him camping Kira's lane so often this tournament.
And look, we said the same thing about Revolta when he was playing the Rek'Sai, so you might think, okay, why are we leveling this against Symphony? He's ganking for a Vlad, and let me tell you, Vlad Pre-6 does not provide very much to a gank.
It most certainly doesn't. We actually saw the Chiefs fall into that trap with a Nunu Vlad combo, not being able to gank anyone ever. Dark Binding not going to find anyone as Thaldrun is going to go into the danger zone. Demonko taking a lot of damage, but Symphony's here as well. Gets the knock-up onto Dumbledore as they change their attention. Flashing out of the way, Thaldrun just says, okay, I think that they've forgotten that I'm here, as he wanders down the river. And Hard Random unable to pick up anything, but they have a lot of pressure on this top side.
I mean, you just need to see Beşiktaş really start to see the advantage, because let's consider the 3-man skirmish crew of Graves, Thresh, and Rek'Sai. Those are some of the strongest early skirmishing champions in the game. Rumble, quite decent himself. They weren't really respecting Rumble's damage, but they need to cede control because, in general, Hard Random, apart from the Vladimir, has really shown a lot of power in their laning choices.
Yeah, they very much have, and I've been super impressed by Smurf. I mean, I did say it was a little bit of an aggressive twisted advance, but he is so far ahead on farm. He's got the 1v1 lane here at the same time, so up against Nadius now has actually a level advantage considering the fact that Dumbledore was down in that lane for quite some time. May have the level advantage coming through quite soon. Of course, recent leveling coming through from Nadius, who now has the On the Hunt. Demonco heading towards this bottom side of the map as well. Symphony coming around. Theocles is going to hand over this blue buff to Energy as well. Glitterland's going to help him secure that one. And it looks to me like Kira might pick up a blue buff for himself as well. Of course, cooldown reduction, a fantastic statistic for Vladimir.
And Symphony in no rush to pick it up for himself, of course. With some other jungle choices, you might consider going a bit more selfish with your blue buff donations. But in this point, the lane control it gives Kira is probably more important than the Rek'Sai having Void Rush on a slightly shorter cooldown. Yeah,
well, this is the thing. And the rest of his her abilities, are going to be on a shorter cooldown as well. But no mana to speak of, not too worried about it. Dark Binding going to find Smurf. Nice boomerang just to get some extra damage there. But Smurf already pretty tanky with the makings of that Catalyst.
Energy's zones in this lane are so interesting to see, playing so aggressively up the lane. Maybe that's why we see Rek'Sai show so much presence in mid, because Energy, he's going over halfway this lane at a default.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. And we have already mentioned the fact that Energy, a noted Lulu player, just shows the confidence just there. Theocles in a duck stance down. Another Rift Scuttler as the Dragon is now under fire by Beşiktaş.
It's just a free Dragon. Lulu has so much presence in mid. Vladimir definitely on the back foot, as we would have expected in the matchup. Civ has already powered down the minion wave and thus the turret in bottom lane. Rumble's not having a lot of fun, but as expected. But the free Dragon confirmed by all the early rotations by Beşiktaş.
Yeah, looking great. 1,200 gold, now the lead for the Turkish side. Theocles coming through. I apologize that it's not Ducks. It is Phoenix stance, but he looks a bit duckish.
That's okay. I can understand where you're coming.
When these... Speaking of which, we'll see right now whether they're going to be able to continue this one going on. And 1,000 gold is the lead. Not even that yet for Beşiktaş, as Theocles going to just continue farming up this jungle. Energy looking like he was making a move towards that top side. Not going to find anything. Symphony hanging around his jungle as well. And Kira offering back a lot of damage. Glitterland's doing some work now at this stage of the game. Level 8 Energy almost with maximum points into that spell.
Items though. Triple Dorans into the Amptum. Definitely has a lot of unspent gold, but that is about as much early aggression as you can get with item purchase. Triple Dorans used to be a staple, but has been a thing of the past for so long.
Is going to go for that Morellonomicon as well, so maybe sort of just wanting those
It's
Doran's
Operation
rings.
Just try and smash Vlad in lane. This is Operation keep down Vlad as much as possible. You're going for the item that gives you the most dueling power in terms of the Morellonomicon, and the super early power spike to just mow down these waves as much as possible. So if that's the mission, look, it'll definitely set back the late game item build, but a lot of power centered on the Lulu.
Yeah, Will of the Ancients is probably going to be able to be finished. Oh, speaking of which, Thaldrun. It's not speaking of which, that was a terrible segue, but he's going to flash out of the way of the death sentence there on the top side of the map. I was going to mention that Kira probably can finish the Will of the Ancients fairly soon, as Energy going to take a cheeky turret shot, but a lot of damage now as that Fetish Codex has been completed.
It's obnoxious to lane against triple Dorans and the working towards the Morellonomicon Lulu. That's obviously the playstyle as Kira takes another Glitter Lance, is to just try and overtake lane, and then you can start roaming, because of course with the Whimsy you can appear in multiple lanes. Your damage in early levels is not ignorable. Sure, you don't have the best damage scaling, but with the utility scaling, win lane, win the game. That's the strategy from Energy on this Lulu.
Yeah, and he's starting to do it as well. Of course, Kira had navigated that lane quite well beforehand. Lex with the buckshot, going to be clearing out these waves, and Symphony makes his way back towards the top side just to ease the pressure. But Nardius, in this bottom side of the map, pushing relentlessly. Dumbledoge hanging around here as well. Christmas Tree going to be clearing out the minions, as Nardius is going to rotate towards the mid lane as well. And they are concentrating so hard on keeping down Kira.
But they're so overextended in the bottom lane especially. They're just hoovering up minions. Now they've rotated mid. Another person pays a visit to Kira.
Oh, nice spell shield there from Nardius. Blocks out so much of that damage. It's Theocles might be caught out here. He's in a bouncy castle. First blood for Symphony as Theocles falls down.
Yeah, Theocles, he's the one that wants to be face-checked, but in that case, face-checking multiple members. Kira, though.
Yeah, go button pressed here as the Hemoplate comes through, but Nardius with the drive-by kill is going to net himself that one. Smurf cancels the teleport towards the mid lane as well because his mid laner was most definitely dead.
And they really want to take down Vladimir's turret, make it that much more risky for him to try and pick up farm in the mid lane, delay those power spikes by keeping his gold down, because 102 CS against a triple Doran's Lulu is a very good start for Vladimir. They have Sivir and Lulu, lots of 3 ranged auto attackers. They want this turret, and they want it now.
Yeah, they are going to be able to take that one down. So second turret of the game here for Beşiktaş, and they are extending that lead ever so slightly. Dragon up in another 2 minutes. They're going to be thinking about that moving forward. Nadius now able to pick up a bit of a creep wave here that's attacking the outer turret on the bottom side, but it was a nice roam around, and that's what happens when you take that bottom outer turret early on. That wave, you can shove it so far up towards the inner turret of your opponent, and you are free to move around the map.
Yeah, double flat AD purchases working towards the Infinity Edge with BF Sword Pickaxe means instant wave clear coming through, and you just have so much mana sustain when you go for triple Dorans and now a Morellonomicon that they've been able to push in significantly both lanes, take both turrets. Now you have the most dragon security in the world, having minion waves pushing into both mid and the bottom lane. So if they can continue to monopolize these objectives, doesn't matter that Theocles fell down. They're in a very good stead to take over this early game.
Yeah, Kira actually going super aggressive. The pull going to be popped here, but Energy not stopping. Whimsy not available again just yet as Symphony looking to try and get amongst it. Praysega doesn't find anyone. They are going to be able to disengage. Theocles heads back towards the jungle, and Nadius continues to push relentlessly here on the bottom side. No surprises coming through from the Sivir.
But what a crazy game that this is a game with Rek'Sai on their side, that Sivir feels confident enough to overextend for farm towards the inner turret in the bottom lane, not respecting the gank pressure from Symphony, who's only shown presence in the mid lane, barring that first blood and top. Just really hasn't been seen around the map. And this is certainly not something we would have expected if Revolta was playing that Rek'Sai, but Symphony just not been able to get the same early pressure. And these lanes able to overextend against a strong ganking jungle as Kira.
Yeah, there's the pull, but bound up by that Dark Binding. Lex does find his way in at exactly the right time. Soul Shackles is down. Dumbledore looking for that one as Energy picks up Kira on the backside. Somehow Smurf coming through. There's the Righteous Glory for the slow Energy. Gets chased by a present, but he's not going to find too much as Nadi is going super aggressive.
Equalizer.
There's the equalizer. Lex is going to quick draw out of it, but he's so incredibly low. Theocles trying to close the gap. Meanwhile, Smurf is going to flash over that wall. Theocles has the auto attack as the Parrot and picks up that one. Nadius locks down the kill as well as Beşiktaş really moving forward in this fight. Symphony starting to get burnt down. Thaldrin in the danger zone. They don't lock it down. Just the tip. Not going to find it as Symphony. He's going to get away by the skin of his teeth. Damonko, though I have a feeling, is not going to be so lucky.
And look, they really want to pick up this second dragon. They even passed the kill credit over to Nadius to speed up his static shiv. There should be a second dragon coming through. It's looking a bit hairy in the middle there, but the moment the equalizer was laid, it confirmed Lex's death. They went well as the Void Rush has been used, and already back as Symphony.
That was a very, very optimistic Void Rush coming through there, but Symphony does make it out in time. Another teleport. Smurf wants to get amongst it as well. They don't want to give up this dragon as there's the wild growth to come down from Energy. He's very, very low as Kira's going to pull out, but Theocles locks him down. Lex now finding him, but Smurf, he's super low. Nadius zoned out of this fight as Symphony. He's going to lock down the kill on the Udyr, and now Hard Random looking to try and pick something up. Dumbledore with a nice Dark Binding as Thaldrin. He's quite low, pops the Scrap Shield in order to help him get out of there. Nadius pretty healthy, but I'm not entirely sure who even has the right to this dragon, because Lex now quick drawing into this one, picks up the kill. Nadius with a decent spell shield, not going to be enough. Symphony on a rampage, 4 kills for the Rek'Sai, and that is definitely going well. They still have a ward here to Beşiktaş, but Hard Random going to be able to lock down this dragon.
Those kill trades and that fight around dragon went for so long, doesn't actually go for the second part of the death sentence. The key point to mention though, Atlas, is that even if the trades had gone slightly in the advantage of Beşiktaş, which over the course of this it definitely didn't, as they went even in the kill trade and then gave away the dragon, the bigger consideration is that the scaling advantage is on Hard Random side, so you never want to trade evenly with a team with a scaling advantage, and now they lose one of their win conditions, or at least delay it, by giving up the second dragon. So definitely lost more than they gained by being a bit too feisty around the dragon there, Beşiktaş.
They most certainly were. Lex now 1-1-4 on the Graves. Nadia still having a slightly better game as he's picked up a whole lot of extra crit to augment that Infinity Edge. Does have, of course, the Avarice Blade and the Brawler's Glove to go along with it. Needlessly large rod for energy there in the mid lane, possibly going towards that death cap, of course. You just want as much AP as possible as a Lulu just because you have shields. You've got the wild growth for the extra health that scales on AP as well. And you've mentioned double dipping in the past, Papa Smithy, and that's exactly what Energy wants to be doing.
And look, Energy's not the only one that's going to be double dipping. People know that, of course, Vladimir's passive also gives him health for the ability power.
True.
So doing plenty of dipping himself.
If only he had a shield, he could be triple dipping.
Okay, no more dipping allowed for Vladimir, though. Has the Will of the Ancients for the lane sustained. So suddenly, between the Will of the Ancients and Negatron Cloak, should be able to start shrugging away the trade damage coming through from the high AP Lulu. And this is the part where this game changes. When Vlad is able to win trades against Energy, suddenly Energy doesn't have the same wave control or even lane presence that he's had, being able to overextend and hoovering down farm. When they can start punishing the Lulu for her just the innate structure or texture of this Vladimir versus Lulu matchup, I feel like some of Beşiktaş's advantages they've gotten earlier might start to be contested.
Actually, Beşiktaş looking to take away this blue buff. Beautiful use of the boomerang. And Nadius, thanks for all the help, Kira. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, it's a very good judge of damage in general. They understood that Boomerang Blade would do about 600 damage to DPS it down perfectly. Theocles looking to find Maokai, but turret diving a Maokai, a level 11 Maokai no less, is always a struggle.
It most certainly is. Theocles still hanging around though. Symphony's going to meet him here on the top side of the map, and this Udyr has had a decent performance. Looks like he's going for the Righteous Glory as the second item here, as the bear just going to wander around in between these turrets. Gets knocked up though. Dumbledore coming through. Soldrin and Nadius are both here. That equalizer was wonderfully placed as Smurf's getting burnt down. Slowed up as well as this tower's going to fall. Dumbledore very, very low. Theocles as well. It's a nice boomerang over the top of Hard Random here, and they're quite low on this map, but neither team hard committing to this one.
Yeah, Lulu didn't find a path to actually get there and go for any sort of flank. Doesn't have boots, crucially. Having just not many item slots. Needed potions more than boots, you'd have to think, being the reason that she doesn't have those boots early. So wasn't able to rotate effectively, even with the likes of Whimsy. And with it being a 4v4, they didn't have any re-engage options. They don't have any CC, really, out there, unless the Morgana bind hits. So able to back away a Hard Random. And if these fights keep going, even if the CS just coming, suits Vladimir.
Certainly does. And do you think, based on the fact that Beşiktaş have a massive amount of magic damage coming through, do you think that it could be the Abyssal Scepter into the Spirit Visage as well here for Kira?
I think you have to look down the lineup and think, okay, will I have enough damage if I opt into that? Maybe it's a feel thing. Maybe you finish the Abyssal and work out what's the big issue. But they've already got the Aegis completed. Negatron into Abyssal is already going to be that, 45 magic resist coming through from that item. Get the Merc Treads and maybe reevaluate. Merc's still very relevant because you have so many CCs. You don't want to take the 3-second duration from the binding. The slows need to be kited. His Rumble's very low.
Yeah, Scrap Shield not offering him too much as Twisted Advance looking to come through. There's the flash. Symphony picks it up. Doesn't want to waste any time. And the Rek'Sai picks up the 5th for herself.
And looks like Hard Random trying to answer some of these objectives. They're down in turrets 3-0, now 3-1. Civ is going to keep pushing in mid. They need to try and make Beşiktaş pay for their strategic decisions. Civ obviously no teleport, but it looks like Graves just going to try and answer her split push.
Yeah, of course, plenty of wave clear to come through from Graves, but it is going to be Nadius just exiting that lane. There's the teleport exactly coming through from Smurf in this bottom side. Energy in the meantime going to be igniting up. Kira doesn't find the Q though, and Smurf is going to try and lock down this Sivir on the bottom side. There is action all across this map, but Nadius is going to make it out on the hunt, going to help him out there.
And crucially, no way for them to justify that teleport with taking down the bottom turret. Kira.
So close. Kira is going to have to get right up to that base in order to get back.
And her movement choice is Luden's Echo Lulu.
That's exciting.
That's a lot of wave clear coming through. A bit of AoE damage on top of the Glitter Lance. The poke is going to be that much better. Hard to hit the poke, but again, if you hit the E ability, hitting the poke onto multiple members is sometimes trivial, especially on such a practiced Lulu like Energy.
Yeah, Energy certainly. I mean, I'm going to take his word for it. That is most certainly it. Theocles going to stun up Symphony for a moment, but Symphony not even really going to notice as Theocles now looking to come through for a potential steal away. Doesn't get it. Buckshot does next to nothing to this Udyr. Now with the Righteous Glory, looking to be building up the Frozen Heart next. Demonko lands a decent Death Sentence, and the knock-up comes through from Symphony, but Theocles more than happy to tank up a whole lot of the damage, and Demonko ignited him. That was odd.
Yeah, the Ignite maybe a little optimistic against an Udyr especially. Rumble's still split pushing, has the teleport available, has double magic penetration, but we're going to see a fight.
Yeah, more flashes to come through. The box comes down, and man, energy just explodes. It's a beautiful Death Sentence as well. Nadius, that's a lot of the damage gone now on the side of Beşiktaş's. Theocles is running for the hills. Hard random. That was a wonderful engage. Tholdren now going for the hero play. Lex gets taken down. Symphony is going to secure that kill, and Rek'Sai's going off.
Rek'Sai's going off, but Rumble got the trade onto Graves. The 1-for-1 trade, and that won't stop the Dragon coming through. This is the bigger issue, is that Beşiktaş has a comp that was looking to monopolize Dragons. Took the first one, then overextended for some cute trades. Was punished with a first Dragon being answered by hard random. Now going into a Dragon hole. This could really serve to hurt Beşiktaş scaling into late game, as you feel like this Vladimir is already becoming super relevant. Abyssal Scepter is 0-3 and 4, but is finding the farm and is getting stronger.
Oh yeah, and a bit of global gold to come through here as well. You can see that mid lane outer turret very, very low. Smurf going to be able to take down this bottom lane outer turret at the same time. You have to think. We'll see whether these minions are going to take it down. That's a lot of casters, so they will be able to finish this one off. Nadius watches it fall a little bit unhappily there, so closes that gold gap. It's less than 2,000 now, and hard random well and truly in this one.
I mean, a lot of items on the Sivir especially is up. A pickaxe on top of a completed critical strike item with the static shiv. About 1,000 gold between those two. Honestly, that's the whole gold lead to some degree. Only 1,600 gold is the lead coming through here from Beşiktaş, and some standing gold to be answered. The third outer turret coming down. It's going to be basically all even. And when you've got an Udyr scaling into late, okay, going to be unkillable. But setting up these big equalizers, and we already saw a wonderful one, but then again, that was a 1v4, sniping away a single kill. You feel like fighting in the open, which is looking like it's going to become more and more a reality for Beşiktaş as they fall behind in objectives. Doesn't feel like that's going to be the big win condition for them.
No, they certainly don't want to be doing that. Symphony as well has had a wonderful game, and this is a full tank Udyr. I mean, not Udyr, Rek'Sai and Udyr, I guess, so I am correct on both fronts, but the locket is completed now for Symphony. Does have a Warden's Mail in the back pocket and Skirmisher's Saber. And I really like this pickup because it sort of means that you have that aggressiveness in your build, but you still have the Cinderhawk. You still have the mega tank mode heading into the late game.
And you feel like going to be in the middle of a fight, whatever happens. Most of Beşiktaş is going to be fighting on the same line just because, again, short-range damage threats coming through. Sivir usually fights with her tanks and other damage dealers rather than being able to position at the back of the fight because of her 500 range. Skirmisher's Saber, just get on top of the Sivir, challenge her with that smite, and try and just damage her or try to zone her away from a fight. Going to do his best Udyr impression. He's going to do much the same thing, even without the Skirmisher's Saber.
Yeah, the Trailblazer picked up here for Theocles, but Udyr needs no extra help challenging people to duels. Exactly what he wants to be doing. Kira now just going to say thank you for the pushed up minion wave. Does have a needlessly large rod here in the back pocket. You have to think probably the Zhonya's Hourglass coming down for the Vlad just so he can be annoyingly untargetable for incredibly long amounts of time.
Yes, 5 seconds of stasis, much the same as the likes of Lissandra. Of course, can move during the Sanguine Pool, but a very similar interaction as Tholdren is caught.
Yeah, Equalizer comes down as well to try and get the 1v2, but not sure whether it's going to work out because Symphony and Smurf, they're so tanky. The Golden Flamethrower there looks brilliant, but he's still going to die.
You see the issue here for the Rumble, especially between the Locket being popped and the Vengeful Maelstrom. They sat on an Equalizer for the complete duration and didn't take any damage.
They weren't too worried about that one whatsoever. The Liandry's Torment that is now being completed may help out. But, of course,
needs a Void
can't
Staff.
Retroactively buy it. Void Staff not quite there just yet. Death Sentence going to land here from Demonko, but Dumbledoge not going to have to worry about it too much as there's no follow-up.
Feels like, in general, Energy's been a bit of an afterthought. It's kept that 10 CS lead up, but an early power spiking champion against a Vladimir. Only a 10 CS advantage, not being able to pressure that lane anymore. They haven't really taken over the lane as expected. Nidus is doing surprising damage to Smurf.
Yeah, that speed up from the passive coming through, the flash and the counter flash from Smurf. Cheats around as Theocles is actually going to use the Righteous Glory. Teleport out here. And the Udyr just gave up on it anyway.
That was some smooth moves, getting vision of the Gromp, then Twisted advancing over, baiting out the flash, and then answering with the flash of his own. That's some excellent Maokai play. You don't normally talk about Maokai mechanics, usually fairly one note in terms of his impact in fights, but that was something I haven't seen before.
Yeah, that was very cool. And Theocles actually sort of got juked out of that one as well, as the teleport was used from Smurf. So he used 2 summoner spells for 1. So I guess in the end, theoretically, Beşiktaş coming out on top, but Smurf was dead to rights.
Look, it's all about the
sweet outplay.
The sweet
exactly.
outplays. You know,
sometimes
it's about sending a message.
It is. It is entirely. It's all the time about sending a message, Papa Smithy. I could not agree more. Nadius is able to take down those Raptors, though, and Hard Random now hanging out on their side of the map here. And you have to think there's been a lot of darkness on this map, not a whole lot of focus on vision for either of these teams.
It's true. There hasn't been a big vision game. You'd think Beşiktaş would be the team that would have the monopoly on vision, get those pinks around Dragons and power down the objective. And we saw that at the start, but again, fell away. And it seems like, in general, their neutral play around the Dragon has been found a bit wanting. Hard Random, they've been able to answer what was a 3-0 turret hole to now be 3-3. Even or ahead against objectives, I remain to be convinced on what exactly the Udyr can get done in fights. Lex has actually felt comfortable enough to go BF sword over the likes of working towards the Last Whisper with a pickaxe, just because the armor pickups have been minimal so far.
Yeah, not quite getting there just yet. Of course, there's a Zhonya's Hourglass available, and Theocles hasn't been back to base in quite some time.
That's a fast Udyr.
Yeah, the Whimsy's up as he's just launching himself into the backside. He's going to try and get out of there, but Death Sentence comes through. There's the box as well. The focus is on this Udyr as Thaldrun with a nice equalizes, burning down so many people. Demonko has to get out. Lex manages to pick up a kill. No, it's going to be Kira actually. Dumbledore so low as Thaldrun. He's going to fall. Energy's fallen down at the same time. Smurf picked up that one. Another Death Sentence. Demonko is on fire with that skill, and they trade Kira for 3.
And you couldn't have asked for a much better spot for a team fight for Beşiktaş. Burning down 3 members on top of the equalizer, but it didn't matter. They're already too tanky. Feels like to some degree, unless the voice stuff comes in the next 5 minutes, they've outscaled that Rumble damage. Just shrug it off, go in. They killed Siva with the other 2 members that were already diving, and now Baron should be unanswered, but Theocles, no one told him, he's powering in there.
Yeah, he's looking to try and get amongst it. Is just going to watch the Baron fall down and then run away as quickly as he can.
And that's just not going to contribute very much to the Udyr. Already a bit of a question mark. We're going to see the replay. Now just watch this spot. You can already see Rumble players across the world licking their lips at the potential equalizer to come through. Theocles is just buying time, to be honest. They're sitting on top of the equalizer, but note those health bars. They're falling low, but it's not enough. And in the backline, Kira just gets killed. Kira just gets the kill onto Siva. That's the big situation, that Siva's dead. Too much of the damage coming through has been accounted for, but the fight's back on.
Yeah, here's another one coming down as the Boomerang comes through. Nice Dark Passage is going to take the Maokai to safety. Beşiktaş now going to turn their attention to this inner turret on the bottom side of the map.
Baron buff recalls, though.
Yeah, exactly. Collateral damage going to come down from Lex just to try and clear that one out. Not going to do anything here as Beşiktaş just going to force that turret.
It'd be very big if Beşiktaş could pick up this Dragon. They've pushed in a way. They've got more than expected because they've actually gained an objective during this Baron fight.
Tremor Sense was doing work there, but Symphony's going to find Theocles very low on mana here, as well as Nadius has popped the ult. Beautiful spell shield to get out of that twisted advance as Smurf gets turned into a cute little bunny, and Symphony, he's going to have to try and get out of there because he's falling so low. Smurf now getting taken down as Nadius is doing so much work in the back line, but is it going to be enough as Lex is through here now? He's pretty low. The double kill, the buckshot doing so much. Thaldrun picks up Graves in the end, but now he's the last man standing. If that had have happened any sooner, that could have been the complete opposite fight.
But the flash double flay was just majestic from Demonko. That's what won them the landslide fight win. 4-for-1 is the trade. Now the third dragon comes through. You have to ask the question, Atlas, why are they fighting against a Baron buff team? They opted into the fight and they paid as deserved.
They most certainly did, and now the movement speed buff available here for Hard Random. Only a couple more dragons before that sort of win condition comes true for our CIS side. And these guys, I mean, we weren't kidding. I mean, we thought maybe, you know, the Chiefs with a uncharacteristic performance against these guys, but they are really showing that they're a fantastic team.
Absolutely. They'll catapult to 3-2 and towards the top of the standings if they take this win. Definitely looking lighter on the basis of the first 33 minutes of this game. Beşiktaş just don't have a lot of options. You feel like they had this game on lockdown in the first 8-9 minutes, and the pause came through, and they've come unstuck during that pause time, but their objective play has been fairly poor when that seemed like the main win condition for the team. Lex has been able to go back, finish the Bloodthirst. Are going to be so hard to kill. How are you going to gap close and do damage onto this Graves? You just don't have the team comp that necessarily deals with him that well, because Theokolis has been well held this game.
He most certainly hasn't. Symphony has gone completely off. Hard Random, they are going to take down the inner turret in the top side of the map, evening up that turret score. 4,000 gold in the lead after that Baron came through, of course. Beşiktaş now going to be trying to clear out the minions, make sure that the push does not continue from Hard Random, who have ran out of Baron. So only taking one turret for the... Oh my goodness, that descent's pretty close. But no joy as Hard Random now thinking about what they're going to do next. And no neutral objectives available. And do they have any siege options at all, Papa Smithy?
Coming through from
Beşiktaş.
From Hard Random, they can look for a siege. They don't really have a lot of poke from range. Obviously, Vladimir and Graves want to get into that shorter range for their damage. So sieging's not exactly ideal. They just want a team fight, and to be honest, they've found team fights. In fact, Beşiktaş have opted into team fights they didn't need to take and lost them. So they're just happy to build up towards the next Baron, set up for that objective. The Dragon score's already in their advantage. Keep pushing out the minion waves. Keep trying to navigate Kira into these lanes to pick up more and more farm on the Vladimir. Already 4-item and boots upgraded Vladimir. I mean, things are just looking excellent for Hard Random, and the Vlad Graves synergy that took them to that win over the Chiefs is serving them well again here.
Yeah, really looking great. Lex showing a lot of comfort on this champion, and Kira's looked as impressive on this Vlad as the Diana, but Smurf's going in. That was a huge twisted advance as the Buckshot looking for it. Hemo Plague onto a couple of members as well as Kira blows the pull just to avoid that turret damage, and the inner turret falls down. You have to think Hard Random, that's all they were looking for.
Yeah, the overreach for the pick wasn't necessary. They were invariably going to take the objective. Now some team fight ultimates are on cooldown, but probably not going to be punished by Beşiktaş. So they get the objective, they get out. That's just fine for Hard Random.
Yeah, they are going to head back, maybe pick up some items here as well. 5,000 gold the lead for Hard Random, finally with the turret advantage as well to go along with the fact that they've had a lot of map control. You can see lots of vision here on the bottom side. A minute and a half approximately until that Baron is available once more. Beşiktaş have pushed out the top and mid waves though. Hard Random going to have to deal with them in short time, but Theokolis probably doesn't want to be towards this bottom side. They need to get some vision around that Baron.
And the only thing that's stopping Hard Random from really taking down these fights is the lack of a last Whisper coming through. Went for the Bloodthirster, which will help him as a short-range AD carry, but the pickaxe signifies that only a short waiting game till the last Whisper is complete. And one thing to mention is, you talked about the vision. It is impressive. They have some smart pink wards very aggressively placed on the red side jungle. But just look at the tunnel network. They have tunnel options across the map, which tells you there just hasn't been time or enough map pressure for Beşiktaş to answer all these tunnels. The Rek'Sai's taken over this game in more ways than one. 15 out of 17 kill participation. Full tank Rek'Sai, warrior Rek'Sai. In general, Rek'Sai, she's just been so powerful today especially.
Yeah, this is like the Julio Stito impression here coming through from Symphony. The hard carry from the jungle.
All the junglers
tank
today, the big winners. Revolta was doing a great carry impression, but with the more offensive item choices. But even on the more defensive champions like the Gragas and now the Cinderhulk Rek'Sai, junglers in general just been the big winners of IWCI Day 2.
Definitely the standouts, the MVPs for the team. As Looking great here so far for Hard Random. Of course, not over just yet here for Beşiktaş, as they're only behind by about 5,000 gold. That is nowhere near a shutout.
But this is what we were talking about. Now they're in the open. How do they win a fight with the comp that they have in the open? That's the question I just don't have an answer for. It feels like you're going to have to do a huge overreach as Theocles is hooked in, but that's a pretty tanky Udyr.
He is a most definitely tanky Udyr. Does have those Mercury Treads as well, so the Descent's not going to be doing too much. As Symphony, he's going aggressive. Dumbledore doesn't bring himself a Thresh, as Theocles basically takes no damage. Smurf already half health, as that's a decent equalizer, but not going to do too much. Energy going to fall down, though. It's Kira. He gets that kill. Lex has to deal with multiple tanks, but he is going to fall down. Kira now is so much consistent damage. Nadius, it's a very nice spell shield. Symphony flashes forward, gets the knock up. Triple kill for Kira. Looking for another couple. Theocles and Dumbledore, though, not going to give it to him.
And the moment you see a triple kill for Vladimir, you know that the late game has arrived, Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
Double escape summoners, double mobility summoners make Vladimir such a threat in the late game. Doesn't take any combat summoners in the lane. That's the time to punish him pre-level 9. But this Vladimir is huge, and it feels like Beşiktaş is going to pay the price for it.
Yeah, and he's going to list lazily out of the way of that Dark Binding as well. Dumbledore with the Frost Queen's claim, but this inhibitor is the focus. Hard Random, they can't be bothered dealing with this support and jungler. They need to take down the objective before the rest of the members respawn from Beşiktaş, and they do, securing the objective as Baron respawns.
So Dragon and Baron both respawn. Both of them super attractive to Hard Random. Work towards that fifth Dragon with the fourth. Obviously, Baron doesn't need any introduction. Gray's clearing waves at the bottom. Do we see the emergency rush to one of these objectives for Beşiktaş? Certainly the more defensive option will be the Dragon. They clean out the closest tunnel towards it. Has the more aggressive option of going towards the Dragon. No, maybe they're looking to swap objectives, or perhaps they're just happy to seed the Dragon and are not really looking to risk a counter Baron.
Nah, Symphony just puts a whole lot of onus on those Krugs there on the top side of the map, so he's going to lock those down, and he's going to say, good trade.
Yep, absolutely. Lock down on the Krugs.
You only get 25 gold for the Dragon.
I never talk about the Krugs win condition.
Yeah, you don't.
Missed opportunity.
Look, I'm pretty sure that I should probably be the analyst on this desk.
I mean, you've got some really good ideas about Udyr.
Pretty good ideas. As Symphony is looking for an engage here. It's the equalizer to come down. Not quite burning anyone here, but Kira walks through it. Flashes over the top. There's the pull. He's unstoppable as Theocles falls down. Oh my goodness, the Graves damage in the back to Monko. Lands the Descent and somehow is still alive. The double kill for Smurf, and Kira, he's still alive as well. Energy flashing red is going to be backing towards that upper side. Hard Random, they don't care. They're just looking to end this game, and man, they have had a dream performance today.
It's the consistent story of completely disregarding the Rumble Ultimate. They keep fighting in areas where the Equalizer burns down multiple members, but they're so tanky and have the reposition options. The Hard Random, what a start to the day it's been for day 2, as they've looked dominant on this day 2 Atlas.
Yeah, really.